Alright, so if you've been anywhere near the gaming side of the internet recently, you've probably heard about the Marvel Rivals Kingsmen situation. If you haven't, I'm going to be breaking it down, or at least give you the Spark Notes version of the story. And I have to say, it's a pretty interesting and funny story, all things considered. So this whole thing kind of centers around a player named Kingsman. Kingsman, my friends, is a streamer and a high-ranked Marvel Rivals player who decided to join a tournament for a prize pool of $40,000. He did this so that he could potentially win and use the money to pay for college and other bills he might have. So suffice it to say, the stakes were pretty high and he was playing to win, obviously. Now, Marvel Rivals is a team-based game, much like Overwatch and others, where there are different roles like tanks, healers, DPS, and stuff like that. So each player has their supposed role that you would assume they would play in order to help their team win. So Kingsman is playing in this creator tournament with other streamers, the most relevant ones to this situation being CC, who was the team captain, and Zaza Stack. What's the big deal, you ask? Well, you're about to find out. So in one of their games, Zaza was using Black Widow, who is a sniper character, and put simply, she was performing like ass. She actually ended with a negative KD ratio after losing nearly all of her matches. For some extra context, Black Widow has one of the lowest win rates in the game, and surprise surprise, she also happens to be Zaza's favorite character. Now, Kingsman didn't resort to insulting or trash talking her or deliberately throwing the games. No, he did something far worse than that. He suggested that she switch to another character that could better help the team. Now, what kind of monster would do something bad like that? This is where essentially everything starts to fall apart. So CC, Zaza, and the rest of the team essentially got annoyed that Kingsman was trying to take the tournament seriously and win, while they were just trying to play for the vibes and to have fun. Now, just reading this actually pissed me off because if you're playing in a team-based tournament that has a substantial prize pool and you're one of those people who just doesn't care about winning, get the fuck out, because you're screwing over your teammates who might actually want to win. You see, what pisses me off the most was that everyone on the team was acting like Kingsman was the weird one for, actually wanting to win in a competitive tournament? What are you, nuts? No, that's lame. We just want to have fun. God forbid someone wants to take something seriously and win for a change. Why is it that the players who just want to have fun tend to unironically be the most problematic and obnoxious nowadays? And at this point, it's not just Zaza anymore, it's the entire team. Kingsman is recommending they switch to certain characters that can counter the other team, and they all just decide to ignore him and continue making fun of him, accusing him of ruining the vibe, and it sort of just devolves into a back and forth taking place in, you guessed it, Discord chats. So now that the touch grass factor is thrown out the window and the streamers are feuding in Discord like teenagers, Zaza's boyfriend eventually catches wind of this and reports Kingsman to the organizer of the tournament by the name of Basim. And after seeing some of the Discord messages, Basim decides to ban Kingsman from the tournament entirely, essentially throwing away his chance of winning the prize money. Now, initially, Basim said that the event wasn't meant to be that competitive, which has to be the dumbest thing I think I've heard in a while. This is $40,000. That is life-changing money for a lot of people, especially people who may have college tuition or other debts to pay off. Hell, I've seen people straight up commit homicide over a chicken sandwich. You cannot hide behind that bullshit excuse of, oh, I didn't want this to be competitive. It's a tournament, you absolute dingbat. There's going to be competition and there's going to be people who want to win. So Kingsman later made a video detailing the situation, and of course it went viral. CC and Zaza Stack began complaining that they were being harassed, going as far as to claim they were receiving death threats, blaming Kingsman for the backlash they were receiving. Now hang on a minute, you can't do that, okay? You can't blame the guy who you clearly harassed and screwed over first, and then turn around and play victim when your actions and behavior are put on display for the world to see. And it is worth noting that Kingsman didn't encourage anyone to harass any of these streamers, so anyone who did that was doing it of their own accord, so you can't really blame him for that. Now, honestly, this situation couldn't have turned out better for Kingsman. Basim ended up apologizing and stated he believed he went too far with the ban, which of course he did. Kingsman's Twitch absolutely blew up in viewership, and he's received thousands of dollars in donations, basically recouping the money he lost out on from the tournament, maybe even more actually. Even the developers of Marvel Rivals at NetEase apparently sent him free in-game credits that he could use for cosmetics. Needless to say, the other streamers like CC and Zaza definitely shot themselves in the foot here. They've received a lot of criticism, and some even lost sponsorships from what I've heard. You definitely know you screwed up when the tournament organizer, the game developers for the very game that keeps your careers alive, and most of the internet are against you. I really don't feel any sympathy for these guys at all. They decided that an actual skilled player who wants to win a tournament so he can pay for his college tuition was somehow the problem when it's just them refusing to remove their heads from their asses. It's people like these who just need to be humbled a little bit. We've started seeing this trend of people who are targeted, but it often backfires tremendously in their favor. I believe there was a story of a woman not too long ago who called a child the N-word, which obviously isn't a good thing. But because of the extreme and strong reaction from the other side, and the fact that there was basically a witch hunt for this woman, her getting fired from her job, getting doxxed, the internet saw that and she was able to raise, I believe it was a couple $100,000, doing better than she was before. And there have been more and more instances in which people who have been canceled, doxxed, or whatever are literally ending up better off than they were before just because there was such a strong effort to control them or ruin their lives. The bottom line is, the extreme effort to cancel and silence people without any sort of due process or opportunity to really defend themselves just doesn't have the same effect anymore. It's like the Streisand effect, but for streamers. The more you try to silence or get rid of someone, the more popularity they might end up achieving. Kingsman was wrongfully banned from a tournament, and now he's more popular than ever. And incidents like these are important because of the precedent that's set going forward. You see, people on the internet often forget that there are consequences for their actions, which often results in them behaving in any way they please. Which they are more than welcome to do that, but they can't be surprised or play victim when they inevitably get a response that they don't like. But that'll do it for this video, and I'll see you in the next one.